What's going on, YouTube? This is Captain Fire coming at you with the next episode, episode 5 of our podcast, Snaps on Fire. Today, we're going to be discussing the new season of Marvel Snap coming here, the Rise of the Black Order, as well as we are going to be talking about the new cards coming out this week, both Black Swan and Supergiant, as well as some of the news in the game. We just had an OTA. We'll discuss how the OTA affects the current meta and possibilities for the balance patch coming next week, the content patch actually that's coming on Tuesday, tomorrow. So with me, as always, is my co-host Hulkbuster62. Hulkbuster, how are you doing?
Doing good. Good. Just glad to be here again. Looking forward to this cool new season and so many new cards that are hopefully gonna power up some of the of some decks that really need a little boost. So looking forward to that, and also looking forward to new a new season and some new cards.
So, have you been enjoying any of the cards that were recently patched as of late from this last OTA at all, or not?
I have been playing one of them quite a bit more now. Um, I don't know if we're gonna save that for later or we're gonna reveal it now.
No, we'll save it for
Um,
later. I just
there's
wanted to get kind
one
of
in
your.
particular that I kind of dropped like hard when in the past, but just this last week they went right back into my deck. So
Nice. Yeah, I've been enjoying some of those cards as well, and we'll talk about that. In fact, we actually have a segment towards the end um, that we're going to talk about our favorite cards at each cost going into this new season. And so let's go ahead and get into our first topic today, which is the news, as we'll always start off with here. So Hulkbuster, can you go over some of the news that's coming out this week in Marvel Snap for us?
yeah, we have first of all a new season pass coming out tomorrow. The Black Order Pass, season pass for the month of February. We have two new cards coming up. The first one is Black Swan, who is a 2/3 with an on reveal of until the end of next turn, your one cost cards cost 0. So looking
Yeah,
at some potential synergy with Thanos already.
and we'll I'll
All
let me
oh, go ahead.
just jump in real quick. She actually was updated. Black Swan is going to be a 3/5 now.
Oh wow,
So yeah, and yeah, so a lot better stat line than a 2/3.
that's awesome. And yeah, that'll be a way more power coming down too, and maybe we could even play it in other decks other than just Thanos. That'll be good.
Oh yeah, we'll
And
talk about
then
that for sure.
so she's the season pass card, and our weekly card is Super Giant, a 4/5. I don't know if she got
No, she
changed, did
didn't.
she?
No.
Okay. So 4/5 with the power of on reveal. All cards played next turn don't reveal until the game ends.
Yeah, so some pretty good cards coming out this week. What else do we have this week?
This week we also have a couple hot locations. We have during the week we have Nidavellir. Nidavellir? I hope I
Yeah, I think
pronounced
that's right.
that right.
The Davalier. I think that's
Nidavellir,
where
that's
is it.
our
Isn't that where uh they forged the hammer in
yeah, or
Infinity
I
War?
think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it says cards here have +5 power. So that'll be the hot
Nice.
location. So, look to fight, kind of fight that section out and see how many cards you can beef up.
Just play Iron Man there and you win.
Yeah, pretty much. And then Olympia on February 11th, so on the Sunday, we have Olympia,
Nice.
which is draw two cards. So
So play Galactus
pretty good.
during that week.
Yeah.
During that
So
day.
that's a good couple locations, no quote unquote toxic locations this week. So looking forward to
Yeah.
that.
And then also, is there anything good bundle wise coming out this week?
Bundle wise, we do have a couple bundles coming out. I just had the here it is. I had my schedule up. So we do have a bundle coming out on February 8th called Bundle Double Trouble, and it has a Magic and a Doctor Strange Jeff DeCal variant. So an artist variant. 3,000 collector's tokens, 750 credits, 310 magic boosters, 310 Doctor Strange boosters, avatars for both variants at $39.99. And
Okay.
that's going to be out for a couple days.
So that one, it
Uh,
looks like the value on it, they're rating it at about 161% currency value. So you're getting kind of 1.5 times the amount of value out of it that you would be if you were just buying the currency themselves.
yeah.
Um, One that I
And
saw,
then, uh huh.
you're probably gonna say it, the well-suited superheroine. It's a 14.99 bundle with Ironheart, and that one's coming out tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Oh,
Yeah,
you're
and
right.
it's
I
gonna
totally
run for
skipped
a
that one.
month. Yeah, it's gonna run for a month, and it has Ironheart, Sway variant, a avatar of that variant as well, 750 credits. 1,500 gold and the 155 Ironheart boosters, so you can take it to infinite right there. And that one is actually a currency value of 175%. So a pretty good value on that one.
Yeah, and honestly, that variant is a really cool Ironheart variant.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's
And
dope.
then,
And
yeah, you
then
can get
there's
into
one
the
last
last one.
one before next week. Um, Kind of one of those. What's back in the day when we were in school and they had that those coloring books that had all those crazy wonky colors. Do you remember that?
No, because I was homeschooled, but I'll go
Oh,
on with it. Yeah, I remember that.
well, they have the same a chibi Sarah variant that looks like they literally grabbed all the colors in the crayon box and dumped it on the card. Super colorful. A lot of people like that who like the cute stuff. But you get the Sarah variant, you get the Avatar, the collector's tokens 500, 4,000 credits, and 155 Sarah boosters for 4,000 gold. So, unless you really want that,
And it's
rainbow.
actually it's actually Rain Gonzalez is the artist. It says it's a
Oh, really?
chibi variant, but Rain Gonzalez is the artist if you look at it. And so
Oh,
if you're
okay.
a really big Rain Gonzalez fan, I mean it's probably a good buy for you. But honestly, the currency value on this one for 4,000 gold is going to be pretty much dead even. And
Right.
so uh, like unless you just really want this Sarah chibi booster or chibi variant, probably
Yeah.
better just to save your gold on that one.
Yeah. And it's Lisa Frank. Look it up. Lisa Frank. Um, I remember in school and stuff, it's just like this variant here, just tons of colors. So if you're
Gotcha.
into Lisa Frank, you're gonna like this variant.
Well, so that gets us through most of the news. We just have briefly to discuss the OTA from last week, and we're kind of breaking into our time here for the podcast. So we'll just briefly go over this. Do you have that pulled up, Hulkbuster?
I do, yeah. I have the OTA changes.
Okay.
We
Can we
had
go over those real quick?
5 cards changed in the OTA. I'll start it off with the one I was my favorite. My boy Luke Cage is back. He's been changed from a 2/3 to a 3/4, but he's basically got his old powers back. He used to be. They changed him to your cards here can't have their power reduced. Now that he's back to ongoing, your cards, period, can't have their power reduced. So he's back. I got him back
Yeah.
in my. I've been playing a toxic deck with a nihilist. He's back in there. I took him out for a while. He's right back. He's gonna come back in pretty much a lot of my decks, so I'm happy about that one. What do you think about Luke Cage?
So for Luke Cage, I think it's a slam dunk bringing him back. This is what they should have done originally. I think that it was kind of a mistake with the way that they updated him previously. And so 3-4, we're getting better power value out of him than he was previously at a 2-2. And honestly, in decks that you play Luke Cage on, uh, you usually are playing like armor or something as well in those decks, or you're playing like collector or something of that extent. And so Luke Cage being at a 3 honestly doesn't really affect anything, except now you're getting that +1 power out of him instead of being a 2-2. Now he's a 3-4. So I think that this is even a little bit better than the original Luke Cage that we had. So I think it's a slam dunk on that OTA. Definitely the best, probably one of the best adjustments.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I love him, and and I think it's fair. We just got Kyera, whose ability impacts the entire board. So why not give Luke Cage back his, complete board power?
Yep.
So maybe
And
they
let's
thought
move
the
on to
same. So
Hulkbuster now. Not you, but
not me.
the
The
next card that
card.
was updated. What did that one get
Yeah.
changed to?
So it got changed from a 3/5 to a 2/3. So the ability remains to say on reveal, merge with one of your cards here. But his cost is lower, but instead of giving you an extra 5, he'll give you an extra. And definitely, I think the notes on that one, they were very clear. They said destroys good right now because of that combo where you can hit Deadpool with Hulkbuster and then blow him up, and then you start that chain where you can get some really big Deadpools. Um, so I think it's a good change, and honestly, I think they may have buffed it.
Yeah. Hey, you're having some audio issues too, just letting you know. It's kind of going in and out. Um, so next we'll go into, yeah, I mean, Hulkbuster at 2-3, I think is just gonna be it's gonna change the power a little bit, obviously. But it still gets the job done. You can play Deadpool 1 or Human Torch 1, Hulkbuster 2 now, make it a little bit easier. So not a bad play there. And then so I think it's still going to be valuable. It's obviously not going to get Deadpool up as higher as fast, but it's still going to be a pretty solid card to fit into those decks you're trying to boost things from. Um, let's go into Heimdall next. Heimdall gets a slight change at 6-8 to a 6-9. Obviously, this is just because of the Shang-Chi change. They're bringing some of these power costs up from 8 to 9. They're still under Shang-Chi, but they're still strong enough to allow you to have good curve there for Heimdall. And so I think that's a pretty good change. What do you think, Hulkbuster?
Yeah, yeah, it's great. He's always needed it, with all these cards like Scar coming out, all these big bodies that the Blob. It's only fair. Give Heimdall more power. Make that turn 6 more meaningful for those
Yeah.
mood decks.
Yeah, and we'll discuss the season pass card too. I think is going to have a play into some of these Heimdall decks as well. But briefly, let's talk about another card that has some pretty big play, and this is my favorite one, honestly, personally, on this update. It's Spider-Man 2099, going from a 4-6 to a whopping 5-9, one of the strongest base power 5 cost cards now, and his ability stays the same. The first time it moves to a location, you destroy an enemy card there. So you're not really going to be counting on that to win the game for you, but just the power swing once he moves. And obviously, they wanted this to be you play Spider Man 2099 on 5, Heimdall on 6. You're getting 18 power between the two of them, plus whatever else you move. And Spider Man 2099 is going to destroy at least one card, probably. And so, kind of a good move you can do too is throw him in the lane next to Cosmo, and he can actually destroy something in a Cosmo lane, which is something I've done with it previously. So, pretty cool
Nice.
ability there on him. And now at a 5-9, I think he's finally worth the energy cost to play. So what do you think about him?
Yeah, I haven't messed with him a whole lot like you have, but I think it's well deserved. Give him more power, make it a value play. Because when the card came out, it really kind of was, oh, cool, Spider-Man 29. I love the character, but hate the card. So now we're getting some. Now we can finally cook with them.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And then the last one, I think also a very big change. This has made Sarah Control the best deck in the game right now. Ghost being a 3-5. Um, and her ability stays the same. She now has a good stat line, and you can drop her on curve in a Sarah control deck. I mean, it just this deck. I don't know if you've played against it at all, but the Sarah control deck with Ghost has been like probably the best deck the last week.
Nice. No, I haven't. I haven't played against her yet, but she looks
Yeah,
good.
yeah. I mean, because you basically think you play whatever you want on turn one. Sometimes, usually those decks run just either Kitty Pride or um, Nova. So you play like Nova turn one, Zabu turn two, Ghost turn three. Uh, doesn't really matter what you play on turn four. You play turn five, and you have Sarah. And so now all your four costs are going to cost two. All of your three costs are going to cost two, and so you can hit some big plays like Shang-Chi, Enchantress, um, plus one other card, Miss Marvel sometimes in those decks, or Killmonger. And man, it's a really tough deck to play against. so so
Yeah, looking
definitely,
forward to that.
yeah, some good adjustments. Nothing crazy, but just bringing the power of some cards up and some play. Hopefully, the play rate on some of these cards will go up.
Yeah, it
So
was
let's
like a
go
play.
ahead.
It was like a playability OTA. Like
Yeah.
let's get these
A-
cards back in the game.
And then real quick, we'll just discuss some like monthly news. It's not on the
Mhm.
notes, but I'll just discuss that this month they announced that every week there's going to be a new um, album coming out. And the first one is going to be an Art Germ. And I believe they said that when is that Art Germ shop takeover going to happen?
It is. I have the day here, February 29th through March 1st.
Yeah. So that album, it looks like it maybe the first one. It may end up being the last one. It's going to depend. But there's four albums. I'll just say what they are: Art Germ Heroines, and so it's going to be the female character hero characters from Art Germ. So if you have any of those, they're probably going to be in there. Then the next one's Pixel Discarder, and so the we don't know what's in the album yet. We just know it's probably going to be Pixel card discard cards. So that Pixel Modoc is finally going to pay off for everyone who has that probably the ugliest card in the game. Um, Low Cost High Impact is the third, and that one looks like it has Dan Hip Nebula on it. So we're guessing it's probably going to be like a one cost centric uh, album. And then the last one is called Destroy All Pixels. And so that one has Pixel Carnage. Pretty straightforward. That's probably going to be a Pixel discard or destroy um, deck. And just an idea of some of the rewards. There's going to be a Storm Just Say No emote for the Art
For
Germ
Talk
one.
to the Hand.
Yep. There's a pixel for the pixel discarder. You get a calling wing. Bring it on. It's calling wing, kind of saying, "Come over here, bring it on. Let's get this going."
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
Iceman sweating is the one for the low cost, high impact, and so it's like Iceman and he's melting. It's kind of funny. And then the destroy all pixels is going to be a Wolverine get 'em emote, and it looks pretty cool. It's just Wolverine
Nice.
with his claws out. So. Um, Pretty cool emotes on there for anybody who likes the album. So that's going to be pretty sweet. So now that's pretty much all the news we have so far. Obviously, next week there's going to be a lot more news with the breakdown of the content patch. But let's go ahead and move on to discussing the new cards coming out this week. We have two of them. We'll try to spend just a few minutes here on each one. So let's go ahead first and discuss the first new card, the season pass card this month, which is Black Swan. And again, we'll just reedify she's a 3/5 with the ability on reveal until the end of next turn, your one cost cards cost 0. So, Hulkbuster, what are you thinking about Black Swan?
Personally, first thing, like I said earlier, that comes to mind is that Thanos.
Yeah.
Being able to just dump a ton of those stones down at zero cost, and then maybe like carnage them up real fast to clear up. Get you some of that space back. Um, yeah, just it's gonna be awesome to see some of those big Thanos decks being able to play all the stones right off the bat and get their plays in hand.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing. Obviously, she's part of the Black Order. All the cards are this month, so Thanos is going to be a natural synergy with pretty much all of these guys. But yeah, Black Swan 3/5. I mean, even if you just play her on turn 6, like if that's
Yeah,
one of the only cards you can play, you're getting a good stat line. That's the same stat line as Spider Man. Uh, what's her name? Polaris. Uh, a few other cards that are 3/5 as well. I
yeah.
can't think of them off the top of my head right now, but I'm in the game on my phone right now, so I can just go down and sort this by power.
Yeah, look that
Uh,
up. And real quick, I just thought too. Finally, Kitty Pride and Deadpool playable turn 6 without ramp.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you can really do that. So in a bounce deck, she's going to be obviously really good. And I was thinking destroy as well because you can if you throw her down on turn 5, with like Carnage or something like that, destroy your Deadpool, and then the next turn you can possibly play Death, Deadpool, and
No.
Null, all on the last turn, depending on how many cards were destroyed. So that's going to be a really good synergy. We'll get over synergies in just a second, but let's just really briefly. Here's the cards that are a 3/5 stat line in the game. There is five, or there's actually four, five, six, seven cards right now, and then she'll be the eighth at a 3/5. And let me just see, make sure there's none that are unowned that yeah. So basically there's seven, and she's gonna be the eighth. And here's the abilities: Deathlock, he destroys cards, so not always a good thing. Ghost, she makes it where your cards reveal last, actually gets destroyed by Goliath most of the time. Lady Sif will discard something from your hand. Polaris will move a card to her location. Spider-Man will move a card out of the location, and he'll move as well. Viper can move one of your cards over, and Wave will reduce the cost of everyone's cards to 4 maximum. So honestly, she's the first one that has like a completely just awesome ability that's not going to hinder you at all or help your opponent. So
Yeah,
probably the best 3/5 card for sure. I think
yeah,
that I would give her a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I think she's going to be
yeah,
just kind of like a meta card from here on out. What do you
yeah.
think?
But yeah. And you know who else might pop up because of her?
Who?
Our boy Mobius and Mobius.
Oh yeah, definitely he's going to be the biggest counter. So this
Oh
week, be
yeah.
prepared. We're going to see a lot of Eliath because of Supergiant, and we're going to see a lot of Mobius. It's just going to be a thing. But after this week, Mobius will probably ramp down a little bit, and we'll be able to start really playing with her. Well, let's go into Supergiant now. Supergiant is going to be in the Spotlight Cache this week, along with Darkhawk and Zabu. So two kind of staples of the Spotlight Cache. A pretty good week if you don't have one of those two cards. And then Supergiant, she's a 4/5, obviously a worse stat line for sure than Black Swan. Not very many good 4/5 cards. And her ability, I mean, it could be really good, it could not. But basically, if she's a 4/5 with the on reveal ability of all cards played next turn don't reveal until the end of the game. Supergiant. So I mean, she's I think that she's gonna be okay. She counters leech if you know somebody's gonna play leech, like if they're playing one
Hmm.
of those um turn 7 decks, and they're gonna drop leech, they snap on turn 4, and you're like,
Hmm.
okay. So I mean, she if you throw her down on turn 4,
Yeah.
they can't play leech. Uh
Yep.
and so I think that's gonna be one of her biggest abilities.
Yeah.
I was thinking too, though, if you play, and let's go ahead and get into synergies on these cards. We'll get into Supergiant synergies first. So some of the cards I was thinking that will be pretty good with her are going to be obviously the combo Taskmaster Blob. If you just play
Hmm.
Supergiant 4, you can play Taskmaster on 5, and you can play Blob on 6. Boom. Or not even Blob only. You can play Taskmaster 4, Supergiant 5. Or I mean, Supergiant 4, Taskmaster 5, and then like another really big powered card, six cost card. They're like Hulk if in a high Evo deck, or Null if you're playing Destroy. Like there's some things you can
Yeah.
do for sure.
Shadow King
Um,
and Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely good good combos you can play for sure. Um,
Hmm.
you just got to remember your opponent's cards will reveal at the end of the game as well.
Yeah,
Um, another card I thought of was Atuma. Atuma, it says at the end of the turn, so he basically you'll get a free Atuma play.
yeah, it
Um,
doesn't blow up.
yeah, exactly, and also um, to Titania uh, would be a good. You could play Atuma Titania in turn 5. I mean that's 15 power, not a bad play. Um, so I think that she's gonna have her plays. What do you think? You have any suggestions or thoughts that you had with Super Giants? Uh,
Supergiant. At first I thought she sounded really cool, but she's gonna be a big brain play really, because you got to
yeah.
make sure you get your priorities, make sure you get your combo set right. Because if you don't, you're gonna hate yourself when that end screen comes up.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And Hit Monkey. I mean, technically would be a pretty good card here, because uh, it says this turn, but how the Hitmonkey has traditionally worked is if you play him like an Invisible Woman, or uh, if you play him in like what's it called? That location that um, Unknown Dimension, where it cards won't reveal till the end of the game. Hitmonkey actually will work pretty well because I believe that he still will count the cards played on turn 6. So if you play Hitmonkey plus like one other card in there on turn 5, and then you just drop a bunch of one costs on turn 6, Hitmonkey will actually pop off for a pretty big play. So not a horrible. Or you could set up Taskmaster, drop a bunch of cards with Hitmonkey, and then Taskmaster will hit Hitmonkey, and you'll have double power on that Hitmonkey, which will be kind of cool. So kind of a good thought there. But let's go into Black Swan now. Now, what cards did you think of that Black Swan is going to kind of help? What decks do you think?
Help out. I mean, we got that Thanos again,
Mm-hmm.
but I was just looking at some Black Swan decks, and they've got some pretty sweet ones. Let me grab that here. Uh, Sorry, I had to click away and now I'm back.
No worries.
The one they had was an ongoing Black Swan deck. So get your Ant Man, get your Quinjets, your Martyrs, Titania, but all those become zeros.
Yep.
Then you have your Goose, your Blue Marvel, Spectrum, Moon Girl, Kazar, Mobius, Dazzler, and Black Swan.
Yeah.
So
I mean, not a bad deck.
using her to just dump those ones out there, drop your Black Swan to
Mm-hmm.
get them super cheap on the board, and this deck could go nuts. Like
Yeah.
with Kazar, Blue Marvel, and Spectrum, all those one costs just blow up. And
Yep.
Dazzler, I forgot about Dazzler.
Yeah. Dazzler just got updated recently. She's a
Hmm.
2/8. If you have your locations filled. So I mean, there's gonna be some good plays with her for sure. She kind of like if you don't want to play like so in that deck, basically you think Patriot Ultron, or like kind of like a zoo type deck. Uh,
Hmm.
you can play that deck now without having to play Ultron. And some of the one costs are going to end up being a little bit better. You don't have to set up the whole Patriot Mystique thing. So basically, I was thinking kind of along the same lines. So, oh, one other, I'll get that into that later. But so basically, some of the cards I thought of that are going to synergize well: Martyr, Titania. If you drop those and fill up your lanes on turn 6, I mean that those are good
Hmm.
value. That's 10 power there. If you played Hood earlier, you can drop the demon as well for free. That's going to be a 1/6. If you have Zero, or if you played Sauron, which I don't know why you'd really want to play Sauron in this deck, but uh, you could also play Ebony Maw, but I don't think he's really going to
Yeah,
synergize
yeah.
super well with that.
Yeah, you want to keep the abilities.
Yeah. So but you do have the ability to play Kazar, like so you could play like Kazar turn 4, um, and then you could play like uh either Blue Marvel Well, you'd have to play. Really, you'd have to play like Kazar on turn 4, and then you could play Black Swan on turn 5, and then you could either drop Blue Marvel plus your 1 drops, or you could drop Hit Monkey plus your 1 drops, or you could drop like what's his name, Onslaught plus your one
Yeah.
drops. Like there's multiple things you could do.
We're just
That
like moon girling a hand of Martyr and Titanian Ant Man.
I mean, yeah, you could really do that. Actually, Moon Girl is one of the cards I'm really excited to play with this season because some of these cards, like Cole Obsidian, we're going to talk about him next week. He's going to be the season pass or the weekly card next week in the Spotlight Cache, but he's going to be a 410. And man, Moon Girl, I think is going to get a lot of value this season. I'm thinking so.
Hmm.
That being said, we've kind of discussed these cards coming out. I think just really the decks I'm excited to play Black Swan in. First decks I'm going to test her out for sure are going to be Bounce. I think I'm going to test her out in um, like a Moon Girl deck. I believe also possibly with like a She Hulk. You skip a turn. Um, or you just play
In
her and then you can play two
Infinite
She-Hulks.
She-Hulk and
Yeah.
Kitty Pride.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things you could do. Um, she's going to be a pretty you couldn't do that because you have to play her and then it's next turn that happens. But
Oh, that's
so you
true.
couldn't play Infinite. But if you played her on turn 5 and you had previously played like Time Stone or something like that you had Moon Girl, then you could have two She-Hulks for free basically if you had
Mhm.
6 energy on turn 5, and then you can play two She-Hulks plus a bunch of 1 cost cards. So I mean there's some things you can do for sure. I'm excited to play some decks with her. I think obviously Thanos with Lockjaw is going to be a really good deck, and if she's in your deck and you play Blob, it's just going to be 5 power. So I mean she's going to be a really good card obviously. But we're going to go ahead and skip the next thing we had to talk about. We'll go ahead and talk about that next week. So why don't we go into our last segment here, our favorite cards of the month from January. So what cards at each cost were your favorite for this month? We'll start at 1, and I'll let you throw it off with your favorite 1 cost card from January.
From
Hulkbuster.
January last month, I had a ton of fun with the hood.
Okay,
Um,
so
just
tell us why.
I was playing a lot, some toxic decks. Just dumping him over to the other side with Viper. Dropping him into what's the location where the lowest side wins?
Oh yeah, bar with no name.
Bar with no name. You dump him there, boom, you're set.
Yep.
Um, and then throw him to the other side with a Nihilus. So I played him a lot and actually got him powered up a lot on my collection.
Nice.
So I enjoyed him. He was my favorite one cost.
So I had a couple, but I think especially after this last OTA, I've been playing a ton of Move, and so Iron Fist, and oh Black Swan. That's what I was gonna say. Move is what I'm really excited to play her in. But yeah, Iron Fist
Hmm.
for me. I've been playing a ton of Iron Fist. I think he's really good. You throw him down. And then even on a 1 turn, the next turn, the next card you play is going to move. So he has a lot of value, I think, the way that he works. Um, and I've always liked Iron Fist. I used to play him in Galactus a long time ago. I would play Shuri before I had before I had Wave and Electro unlocked when Galactus was still really good. I used to play Iron Fist into Shuri. So I'd play like turn 4 Iron Fist, turn 5 Shuri, or on turn 5 play Iron Fist Shuri, and then you could play Galactus in that lane. It was just like pretty funny. But um yeah, Iron Fist, he's a uh really good card in my opinion. So let's go to 2 cost. What's your favorite 2 cost?
Two cost in my heart, it's always going to be Jeff, the land shark. I
Yep.
love that guy. But in play, last month I had a lot of fun playing Bully Move with
Mm.
Kingpin.
Oh
So
yeah.
just bullying people, throwing that new changed Kingpin into that lane, and just
Mhm.
watching them retreat after I negatived all their cards and moved them all into the location they didn't want it in. So
Yep.
that was fun. So for last month, it was Kingpin for me.
Nice. For me, I would say Dagger. Again, getting into the move. You'll see kind of two different decks that I played a lot of at the end of this month, but Dagger for sure for me with her OTA a few weeks ago, going to a 2-0 with the +3 for each card there. Um, Honestly, I feel like she's the traditional Hulk stat line. If you play her on turn 5 and move her, or play her on turn 4 and then you can move her with Heimdall one time into a lane that's full, she's going to be basically the Hulk. So, I mean, she's very powerful. Now she can win a lane by herself sometimes, like it's just like maybe one other card, but she's a big power card now. So I like that change. What about 3 cost?
3 cost. Since I played Toxic last month, I had fun with Viper. She's
Nice.
just when you get that combo, it just feels so good to throw that uh demon or that hood over, or throw out the I forget the name of it, but whatever the here I have it here. The sentry makes
Oh yeah, the
a
void.
the void. Yeah,
Yep,
that void throwing it over. It just feels good. So it was a fun card.
nice.
So
I'm glad you're still liking Viper. I stopped playing her after they changed her to a 3 cost, but yeah, she still has a good stat line at 3-5, so not bad. Um, I liked Sauron a lot, so I actually bought the with gold the Kim uh, Jacinto Sauron variant, and so I bought that just because I wanted to get the what's it called, the credits in it. And man, I've been playing Sauron though a lot in a Shuri deck, and man, that deck just wins a lot. I almost won a Infinity Conquest with it. I got to the fifth game in Infinity Conquest just running a Shuri Sauron deck, and it's a really good deck still. So I had a lot of fun playing Sauron. I felt like if I had like Sauron, Red Skull, and Shuri in my hand, I would almost pretty much always snap once I got those 3 cards in my hand, and it was pretty much game over. What about 4 cost?
forecast, kind of torn because the two decks I played were the Bully Move and the Toxic. I love Sentry, but I'm gonna have to give it to Stegron this time. Only
Nice.
because I got him at the beginning of the season
Mm-hmm.
from the Spotlight week, and
Yep.
I ended up getting the Dan Hit variant right after, so it was
Nice.
fun to play him. And his ability is good, move an
Yeah.
enemy card with 4/6. That's a good play.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed him.
Yeah, he can turn the tides in a lane. I used to love. I had this deck. I called it Zabu 8 Cube Surprise, and I would play, uh, on with Zabu. I would have Zabu down, and on turn 6, sometimes I would play Red Skull and or not Red Skull, Omega Red and Stegron, and you could just boom knock something out of the lane basically, and you win that lane and get the power from Omega Red. It was kind of a sneaky play to play, but yeah, I like Stegron as well. Let's go into or my 4 cost card is Shuri, and so I said I had a lot of fun playing the Shuri Red Skull Sauron deck. Shuri, I think, has just been a lot of fun for me to play, and I like her too. You can also play her in a Galactus Ravonna deck, and to
Mm.
throw over like a Hobgoblin. Um, she's a I think she's a very fun card still, and I hadn't played a ton of Shuri honestly before this season, but I've been playing a lot of Shuri as of late, and she's been a lot of fun. So let's go to now the 5 cost. What's your favorite 5 cost Hulkbuster?
Cost had to be a Nihilist for me. I just
Yeah.
had fun playing that Toxic deck, and he just makes that deck so much better.
Yeah, and
So
honestly, I
it's
mean, one of the best just like 3 card engines in the game is just Hood, Sentry, and Annihilus. I mean, just
yeah,
that those 3 cards right there. If you think about just the power you generate, if you're able to send Hood and the Void over, that's 13.
-13.
Yeah,
Yeah,
-13 for your opponent, and then for you, you're getting the 6 from the demon, you're getting the 10 from the sentry, and then you're also getting the 6 from
a
the
Nihilist.
Annihilus, so that's actually 22. So you're really that's like just those 3 cards alone is like a 35 power
Yeah.
play, like which is really crazy. So yeah, definitely a good um a good card there. I would say Spider-Man 2099 for me after the OTA. I've been playing a lot of move with him, just traditional move, and I mean it just feels so good to play Spider-Man 2099 and then my 6 cost card, Heimdall, just back to back. Boom, you play those 2 cards, 18 power. It's going to destroy something. I mean, it's just a really good combo now, and I think it's just going to keep getting better as Move continues to get cards like Black Swan that could possibly help. You play her, and you can, on turn 4, and you can play just boom your combo of like Forge and Human Torch and Iron Fist and Ghost Spider and Spider-Man 2099 all on the same turn, and then just drop Heimdall to clean it up on turn 6. I mean, just I think he's a really good card, and then I'll just throw out my turn 6 was Heimdall, and yeah, I've had a lot of fun with those. So, what about you? What's your 5 and your 6?
My
Oh,
five
we
was
already said your
Annihilus,
5. Yeah, what's your 6?
and for my six, I have to give it to the best toxic card in the game, Galactus.
Oh, Galactus. Okay, I thought you were gonna say what's his name? Elias.
I love Goliath, but this week I actually played Galactus in my perfect deck. Because if you get your like you said, you get that Sentry move, and you get the Annihilus. You get
Yeah.
that nice juicy -10 lane sitting in the right hand,
Mm-hmm.
and then boom, Prize Galactus.
Yep.
We've also got an inherent, so
Nice. Well, that will actually go ahead and put us to the end of this week's episode. So next week we'll be discussing Cult Obsidian as well as our thoughts on the content update, which will launch
yeah, looking
on
forward to that.
Tuesday. So really interested to see what new things come to the game. Hopefully, we get some of these new features they talked about in the road ahead last or at the beginning of this month. So, but until then, thanks for everyone for listening. This is
Yep.
Captain Fire,
This is Hulkbuster.
and keep snapping, everybody. And we'll see you next week.
See ya.